Good morning and welcome in, everybody. As we get into this morning update, I'm happy that so many of you watched the short that I put out. I went to the gym this morning and I put out a short and it's got over 1,000 views already. So I'm very happy to see that you guys at least were able to get that short while I was at the gym. And now we're going to go into a pretty detailed update here as XRP is up 4.27%. We've got some ETF news that'll be relevant for tomorrow. We've got a deadline looming sometime today, at least some kind of a decision whether or not they're going to have an extension with the case or not. We talked yesterday about the contrarian view with where XRP was sitting at $2.15 if you watched the nighttime live, that it did seem to give an opportunity to a push up of not just $2.29 as long as that 215 held. Well, in real time now it's around, let's see where this stands. In real time, this sits right around 218, and now we have a technical move up as long as this held up at $2.71. We talked about the possibility of rising up to 222, making sure we hold in 229 pivot layer, which is what we tapped this morning. Now we back tested a little bit. Now we need to break over to about 242, ultimately break out to 265 and tap that $2.71 technical target, which would be the target out of this surge. And then you could be looking at a plus $3 if we get on top of 265. Remember, there's the fair value gap under $1.50 if this, for whatever reason, goes wrong, like we've been highlighting. That's only to be taken seriously if we fall below that $2. And let's look at it in real time right now. If you take it out to June 19th, which is on Thursday this week, $2.05, so still around that same area. Ultimately, $2.18 is a great spot to hold. We've talked about Ethereum as the gatekeeper. And right now, the gatekeeper is doing us a solace to start this Monday morning, up 3.5% to $2,636. Right at that resistance structure, still have that beautiful golden cross where the 50 is attempting to cross the 200 in the short term on the daily, like imminently if this continues. And the 20's already crossed the 200 for a short-term pattern flip, which is bullish. Now, if you can get confirmation of the 50 crossing the 200, that gets you some validation. And then the ultimate confirmation would be the 100 crossing the 200. That would be a full pattern flip. Right now it's setting up. The only question is if it can get past here, if we have to come back down farther to retest that 2100. And if it can break past here, you're looking at like 3,500 to 4,000 range. If this can hold, we've talked about how I'm not selling anything that I own. I've picked up, in the last like 12 hours, I picked up AMP, because it's just been holding. And I keep talking about I have 1.17 million of AMP because I feel like when this happens, it's going to have a volatile swing. I did sell it when it got rejected up here. And then I bought it back when it came down at some point within this hold, somewhere around 3.6. But again, it hasn't done anything. Nothing's happened. Still on what looks like a nice inverse pattern. Same thing with a lot of these. Magic broke out for 36.5%. So we're trying to figure out if some of these other ones are going to do the same. Gold's retraced. So this is a good signal for risk assets. Silver hasn't retraced. It's kind of having a divergence again from gold. So basically silver is calling bullshit right now on that drop. So we'll see how this acts. The mining stocks have basically stayed flat within 1.5% or less. We've had the US dollar currency index drop back below 98. We have a little bit of movement with the Dow, up 434 points. LAES is up 4.06%, so that took the up route so far, so we'll see how that works out. US 10-year government bonds are up 1 basis point. And crude oil is back testing the 7% breakout on Friday. It's at about a 3.75% correction, which is typical. Bitcoin's up to 1,447 points today, over 107,000, which means we've pushed back over that consolidation. And if we can hold this back test now, we're going to come up to that resistance structure up here around 109,781. But we know the technical target out of the cup and handle that Bitcoin had built is right around 124K. We could extend this out to 154 possibly, but it all depends on the way we consolidate, whether it's through the next layer or it would have been a back test of 91,950 and clearing out that fair value gap that sits around 91,800 on the low end. 92,500 or so on the top end. But I like to take it out from the lower end. So with that being said, good morning. 10:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, June 16th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. The XRP Bitcoin pairing's up to 2109 sat level, up 2.78%. Perfectly bouncing the back test right now. So if you're looking to buy the XRP Bitcoin pairing, first layer would be exactly where it's at right now, where it bounced around the 2020 sat level. If that were to fall through, you'd have an uptrend at about 1411, or worst case scenario, it'd come back here to somewhere around the 715 sat. But right now, if it can hold this volatility, you would have an immediate surge up to about the 434 sat level. So that would be a very interesting dynamic. We don't know if this is just volatility from the weekend. We don't know if there's something setting the stage for something bigger. But what we can do is stay informed each and every day. The prediction right now for... So, XRP price prediction. Traders watch today's SEC deadline. Will Ripple be set free? And it might ring some bells of my title last night in the live if you watched. It gave you an inclination that something positive could happen. I put, will XRP finally break free? Critical deadline looms versus SEC June 16th. And then the morning live, I said XRP's macro strength. Ripple targets 14% of Swift's volume despite micro turmoil. Because we've had some micro in the micro time frame. It's been a little dramatic. It's been a little volatile. Nice to see you guys watch some of the lives. Nice to see that there's over 1,000 views on the short already from this morning, so at least you're able to get some of that information on the fly. And now let's read this. Ripple maintains its stability above significant support as institutional demand for XRP rises in the legal battle between Ripple. And we talked about BlackRock yesterday, how they had bought $400 million worth of crypto on the drop. So that was some kind of outlier possibly. So XRP is maintaining its position above the $2 support level amid rising institutional demand and on impending legal decision involving Ripple and the SEC. And I've decided while my son's on summer vacation, I'm going to do the short on the way to the gym because I'm still going to wake up at 7 a.m. I'll do the short on the way to the gym. Today was around 8:30. And then when I come back home from the gym and get home, we'll do a nice update. And then at night, we'll do the standard operating procedure of the live. A recent joint motion submitted by Ripple and the SEC seeks a ruling that could lead to a $125 million penalty and the lifting of restrictions on XRP sales. Legal analysts suggest there is a 70% chance of favorable ruling for Ripple, which could alleviate regulatory pressure and boost XRP's price. The June 16th deadline for the SEC's response adds urgency to the situation with potential implications for XRP future price movements. Ripple maintains its stability above the significant support as institutional demand for XRP rises in the high-stakes legal battle between Ripple and the SEC approaches a pivotal decision point that might alter the token's future. XRP's price steady despite heavy legal overhang. Ripple's native token XRP is currently consolidating within a broad range. Despite increasing institutional demand in anticipation of a pivotal legal event involving the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, after a strong start to last week that saw XRP push to $2.34, price action was met with renewed selling pressure. Still, the $2 support level remains intact, reflecting underlying bullish interest as the legal case unfolds. Investors are preparing for what could be a historic development in the years-long court battle. On June 12th, Ripple Labs and SEC submitted a second joint motion to Judge Annalisa Torres seeking an indicative ruling that could allow for a $125 million penalty payout and the lifting of an injunction on XRP institutional sales. Judge's decision may be a turning point. The motion marks a renewed attempt to reach a middle ground after a previous submission was rejected by Judge Torres on procedural grounds. And the reason I'm reading this today is because this is going on today. There's going to be some kind of ruling, whether extension, whether finalization, something's going to happen today. That earlier request had argued that institutional investors and the public would benefit from a resolution but failed to persuade the court. So, I mean, a lot of stuff going on here today. This second motion aims to present a stronger case than legal analyst Johnny Deaton, founder of Crypto Law, estimates there's a 70% chance that the judge may side with Ripple this time. let's see. A favorable ruling would represent a monumental win for Ripple and could signify or significantly ease the regulatory pressure on XRP, potentially removing a key barrier to the further upside. June 16 deadline looms for SEC response, as it is Monday morning on the East Coast, or Eastern Standard Time Zone, I should say, at 10:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. June 16th, regarding the ongoing settlement adding urgency to the situation, the U.S. Court of Appeals has ordered the SEC to submit a status update by June 16th regarding the ongoing settlement talks. This stems from a previous ruling in April where the court allowed a 60-day abeyance to give both parties time to negotiate. Depending on Judge Therese' response to the latest joint filing, both Ripple and the SEC could withdraw their appeals, paving the way for a negotiated resolution. If Judge Therese rules positively, the Court of Appeals may grant an extension, effectively pausing the appeals process and offering breathing room for a final settlement. This legal clarity would be a major catalyst for XRP price action and investor sentiment. In conclusion, legal clarity could unlock XRP's next big move. As the SEC versus Ripple saga nears a defining chapter, XRP remains technically resilient. The market is cautiously optimistic, with buyers defending key levels ahead of the June 16th court update. If Judge Therese issues a favorable ruling and the SEC responds positively, XRP could break decisively above the $2.34 resistance zone and regain momentum toward new highs. For now, patience is key, but the legal tides may soon shift in Ripple's favor. So Ripple's live XRP chart, as we can see, still bouncing around. I've shown you a lot about this. All right, so that's good. Good to know. And then here's why June 17th can change things for XRP and Ripple. The post, here's why. Well, a big XRP ETF decision is due tomorrow, June 17th. So a lot of stuff going on in the next 48 hours or so. With Ripple pushing for a legal settlement and the SEC set to decide on Franklin Templeton's ETF filing, XRP could be ready for a parabolic move if things move in its favor. The XRP ETF approval odds strong at 88%. The deadlines are nearing for spot XRP ETF filings from Grayscale, Franklin Templeton, and Bitwise. The odds on Polymarket for a spot XRP exchange-traded fund approval surged to 98% in June and have slightly dipped to 88% this week. The SEC is expected to announce its decision on Franklin Templeton spot XRP ETF tomorrow on June 17th, which could be a major turning point for XRP in the broader crypto market. So we'll know based on what happens today what's going to happen tomorrow. So a lot going on today with the ruling from Judge Annalisa Therese leading into tomorrow's ETF discussion. Or decision, I should say. Breaking Franklin Templeton spot XRP ETF decision coming tomorrow. 89% chance it's a yes. Bloomberg analyst now predicts an 85% chance for XRP ETF approval this year. Top firms like Bitwise, CoinShares, and Grayscale are also waiting for approvals. Grayscale's XRP ETF decision is likely due by October 18th, while ProShares has requested a final decision by June 25th, which is next week. I believe that's next Wednesday. If approved, the SEC won't be able to delay ProShares ETF beyond that date. Bloomberg ETF analyst James Seifert says the recent XRP ETF delays are normal, not surprising. The SEC usually takes the full review period, with most final decisions expected in October. He also said that even with a crypto-friendly SEC, earlier approvals would be out of the norm. So, Nate Geraci, the president of Crypto ETF Store, explained how crypto ETFs are evolving fast, blah, blah, blah. Ripple and the SEC filed a second joint motion on June 12th asking Judge Therese to lift the XRP sales ban. So we already know about this. While some believe that Judge Therese could approve the motion by June 19th, others remain cautious. Pro-crypto lawyer like John Deaton give the motion 70% chance of success, while Bill Morgan warns that court may push back again. That's kind of what I'm feeling might happen, but we'll see. We'll see how this lines out and how it stems past today. An approval could clear the way for an XRP spot ETF with Franklin Templeton's deadline in focus, but with the ongoing legal battle, the SEC may likely delay in this decision. XRP is currently trading at $2.23. It was about $2.25, up 3.2% in the last 24 hours, with legal clarity and ETF approval lining up. A big breakout could be near for XRP, but any delays or setback might lead to short-term sell-off. So just a lot to pay attention to here this morning. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you appreciate my work, make sure to hit that like button on this video so the information gets out. Subscribe to the channel and join the over 44,000 subscribers. I can't even believe I'm saying that. Go to the video description below and or pinned comments and look at least on my homepage, 44,700 plus subscribers. And make sure you click on Bitunix. They have the lowest spot and leverage trading fees, lower maker taker, no KYC or VPN. in the USA or worldwide, and the fees are so cheap it's going to feel illegal. It's changed my complete profile and my complete approach to how I trade, especially swing trading and buying and selling in the moment. Like AMP, I sold at 401, basically zero fee on almost 1.6 million tokens. Today I bought back, or last night, early AM, it was like early AM, I bought back 1.16 million tokens, and it was like a $6 fee on almost $5,000. So put yourself in the right position. LBank I really am liking because I can buy DGB, send it to my DGB wallet, and the fee was like $42 on like 17,000 almost. So I mean, it's basically nothing. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal if you want to send a donation. I highly encourage you to join Tom's Army. Share this content if you like to talk further. Join the Telegram. It's free. It's the best I can tell you to stay informed. And then for XRP, we're looking to push up to $2.29, break that pivot point while maintaining $2.18. In more recent terms, we want to maintain 222 pivot point. Not well, that was a fair value gap that we fell below, but regained, I should say. And now we're going to want to try to push up near that 265 technical target, 271, but we got intermediate resistance, 234, 242, 252, 265 on the way up. So that's what we're looking for. Have a blessed day. I hope this update helped, and we were going to have a lively discussion tonight during the live.